The transmission had been broadcast across every known system, a declaration of war so absolute that it sent shockwaves through the entire galactic community. The Corthan Dominion, an empire spanning thousands of star systems, had just announced its intention to exterminate humanity. Admiral Rannoch of the Corthans had spoken with his usual arrogance. "You are an infestation, a mistake of evolution. Your kind will be erased from existence. The Dominion will make it as if you never existed." The message echoed through space, reaching human colonies, military outposts, and Earth itself. Billions of humans heard those words. Billions clenched their fists in response. For most species, such a declaration would have meant surrender. The Corthans had wiped out dozens of civilizations before, their war fleets unstoppable. They expected humanity to beg, to fall to their knees. Instead, they got a response. A single video was sent back to the Dominion's high command. The sender? A human soldier, battle-worn, standing in front of the ruined city of New Moscow on the colony world of Grissom 4. His armor was scorched. Blood, both human and alien, streaked his face. He had seen what the Corthans had done, and he smiled. "Congratulations," the soldier said, his voice calm, almost amused. "You just declared war on the galaxy's deadliest species." Then he cut the transmission. The war had begun. The Corthan Dominion had been undefeated for millennia. Their war fleets moved like a storm across the galaxy, consuming planets, enslaving species, and wiping out those who dared resist. But they had never fought humans before. On Grissom 4, the first true battle of the war was already underway. The Corthans had expected a quick and effortless slaughter. Instead, they found themselves caught in a bloodbath. Major Elias Carter wiped the sweat from his brow as he crouched behind a half-destroyed barricade. The streets were littered with Corthan bodies, their dark blue blood staining the ruins of New Moscow. The alien warriors had expected to march through the city unchallenged. Instead, they were being torn apart by human resistance fighters using guerrilla tactics, jury-rigged explosives, and sheer, unrelenting fury. "Status?" Carter barked into his comms. "Still holding, sir," came the reply from Lieutenant Vasquez. Her unit had been holding the western flank, preventing the Corthans from encircling them. "But we need more ammo. Those bastards just keep coming." Carter grimaced. They all knew the reality of the situation. Grissom 4 was doomed. The Corthans had sent a full invasion force. No help was coming. Earth's fleets were still mobilizing. Their orders were simple: make the Corthans bleed. "Hold as long as you can," he said, "and if you have to fall back, make sure to leave them a parting gift." Vasquez chuckled darkly. "Already setting the charges, Major." Carter turned his attention back to the battlefield. In the distance, Corthan war machines rumbled through the city, plasma cannons leveling entire buildings. But the humans didn't fight fair. They struck from the shadows, planted traps, lured the Corthans into ambushes. Every street they took, they paid for in blood. The Corthans thought humanity would be an easy conquest. They were learning otherwise. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread. Other civilizations, long cowed by the Corthan Dominion, watched in disbelief as humans, mere upstarts on the galactic stage, fought back. And then, something happened that no one had expected. The Dominion's High Council received a report that chilled them to their very cores. The humans had taken a Corthan warship. Somehow, against all odds, a small human strike team had infiltrated a Dominion battleship, slaughtered its crew, and hijacked it. No species had ever done that before. For the first time in Corthan history, they felt something unfamiliar. Fear. The KDS Varak, a Dominion battleship designed for planetary sieges, had been one of the most powerful vessels in the Corthan fleet. It was meant to be unstoppable, a symbol of the Dominion's supremacy. Now it belonged to humanity. Inside the bridge of the captured warship, Captain Daniel Rourke stood over the command console, his hand still shaking from the sheer insanity of what they had just pulled off. He glanced around at his team, Marines, engineers, and hackers, most of them still covered in Corthan blood. "We actually did it," whispered Lieutenant Harper, her eyes wide. "Damn right we did," Rourke said. "Now let's make sure it was worth it." The Corthans had underestimated humanity's adaptability. They thought their ships were too complex, their systems too alien. But humans had spent centuries reverse engineering everything they got their hands on. The moment they had control of the ship, Harper and her tech team had ripped into its systems like scavengers on a fresh kill. Rourke turned to his communications officer. "Get me a direct line to Admiral Kasari. Earth needs to hear about this." The transmission was sent in seconds, bouncing through secured human military channels. It didn't take long for an answer. The face of Admiral Kasari, leader of Earth's defense fleet, appeared on the main screen. Her normally cold, calculating expression broke for just a second, an emotion between shock and exhilaration flashing across her features. "You're telling me," she said, voice controlled but sharp, "that you've hijacked a Corthan battleship?" Rourke smirked. "We didn't just hijack it, Admiral. We're about to use it." The Dominion was scrambling. No species had ever stolen one of their ships before. It was an insult, an impossibility. The Corthan High Council was in an uproar, their arrogant confidence shaken. But humanity wasn't done humiliating them. Instead of fleeing with their prize, Rourke and his team turned the Varak against its former masters. As a Corthan fleet approached Grissom 4 to reinforce their ground forces, the stolen battleship opened fire. The first ship to go down didn't even raise shields. It never expected one of its own to turn against it. A direct hit from the Varak's forward plasma cannon ripped it apart. The second ship managed to react, but too late. Harper had cracked into the Dominion's fleet security codes, disguising their communications. For precious minutes, the enemy hesitated, confused, unsure whether the Varak had been compromised or if this was some kind of trick. That hesitation cost them. The human fleet, now mobilized and coming in hot, dropped out of hyperspace. And then, for the first time in history, a Corthan fleet was ambushed. On the ground, Major Carter and his resistance fighters watched as fire rained from the sky. At first, they assumed